Before we begin, I thought I would show you a few nets that I've made. This is an old bag net that I made a long time ago. It's kind of like me. It's getting a little old. Needs a little patching up here and there. And I'll re-dip it. When I dip nets, I use a mixture of polyurethane, marine grade clear, and I cut it 50% with mineral spirits. Then I dip it once, let it stand for 3 hours, and dip it again. This is a cast net I made for catching shrimp. You can tell it's got a chain lead line. I think I use a 3/8 inch dowel or 5/16 inch dowel to make this. It's over 75,000 knots. Measures 7 feet 8 inches long. As you can tell, I like to put stripes in my netting. Sometimes I get a little carried away with the whole concept of stripes. I was actually out to make a camouflage cast net. It didn't work out, so I ended up with this. It's an 8.5 foot braille net. This is a cast net my father made before he passed away. I finished it off with a double line. That's how he made his nets. That was part of his signature. And I'll finish it off with a black lead line and a black hand line and use it strictly for night fishing. It measures 8 feet 4 inches. Well, I do make a lot of cast nets. I also make other nets. This is a crab ring, a double crab ring. I thought it would make a good first project for us. It does incorporate a couple of concepts, namely how to make circular netting and how to attach netting to things like wire or anything else that you can throw a loop of twine around. This is a hoop net that I made some while back. It's a type of fish trap. I've never used it before. I probably never will use it. I just made it for the fun of it. And this is what I'm working on currently. This is a bag type cast net. I started out with an old-time brass swivel. The first few rows I put in a double line of green and white number 4. Then I used the last little bit of Brownell tan number 4. Then a single row of green number 4. Then the main body I used white number 4. This is using a 5/8 inch dowel as a spacer. All of my cast nets so far I've used an 11 Widener row. This is a hybrid net. Down near the bottom I finished with a double row of green, and the bag itself is 25-pound test monofilament. I've got about 18 more inches to go with it. Once I finish, I'll attach the lead line and hang it and get rid of all this crinkle. Then I'll put in my tucks using a pre-treated number 4 to attach my lead line and my tucks. Anyway, this is strictly an experimental net. I wanted to show it to you so you can start developing your own ideas for your own projects. And I'll be showing you some more nets in the future, but they're strictly related to art and design engineering. Well, I hope you recognize that. Before we begin, we need to load the needle. This is the nose section of the needle. This is your center post. Some people call them a tongue. And these are your fins. Now, to begin with, you take your twine and make a loop, and make another loop. Put that loop inside your first loop and pull it into a slip knot. It's very similar to what you do when you tie your shoes. And you slip it over your center post, and you go through your fins, flip it around, put it to the left side of your post, come down through your fins and flip it left side of the post, and down through your fins, etc., etc. Now, how a needle works is this. When you need to unfurl line, what you do is you can pull on it like this or like this all day. When you want extra line, you take your needle and you point it down, and it'll let loose with a coil of extra twine. That's how that works. At first you're going to have to think about it some. With practice you'll do it reflexively. I didn't realize where I actually let loose with my twine until I filmed myself doing it. Had to remind myself, because I do it reflexively now. And with a little time you'll do the same. And when you fill your needle, only fill it up just a little over halfway. Don't fill it all the way up. It'll unfurl itself and make a total mess. Now, if you're a left-handed person, I'm right-handed, what you should do is set up a mirror to where you can look at this through your laptop or your tablet or your desktop through a mirror. If you're looking at this through like an iPhone, it may be too small for you to see exactly what's going on. So, if you're left-handed, just substitute left for right, right for left, and that'll put you in the proper perspective of what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and fill our needle, and let's get started. Okay, I've loaded our needle. What we need to do is drop our twine down between our ring. Then I'm going to take my little spacer. I'll line it up like that. That is about an inch distance. That's about right. It's the very start of our string. Notice our V that's formed. What I want to do, I'll toss a little loop to my left, and then come up behind like that. And all it does is form a little slip knot. That's the exact same knot we loaded our needle with. Now, notice that there's nothing holding that spacer in place right now, so I'm keeping a firm grip. So I'll come through again, go underneath the spacer. There's our little V. I'll toss a loop to the left and come up just to the left of our new V, like that. Come through and pull it, and we have our second slip knot. So come up through our ring, there's our V, toss a little loop to the left, come up just to the left side of our V and pull it. It's nothing more than a slip knot. That's all we're making. Now if these don't come out even, don't worry about it for right now. I'll show you why in a moment. Okay, that's 5 loops. I'll go ahead and make 7. Okay, this is our last one. Now you can make this as wide as you want. It really doesn't matter. But to start off with, I'm just doing a small piece so you can understand. I'll take it off, take a look. Now, it doesn't matter the size of the loops too much. What matters is the distance between our little slip knots. If you see that, I'm going to flip it over like that. And what I'm going to do is come down about 1 inch from our slip knot to the edge of our spacer. And what I'm going to do is this. You need to take a good look at that. That's the trick to everything I'm talking about. You have to be able to do this. Let me get out of it. I'll show it to you again. See how I'm holding that with my thumb? Coming around my little finger and holding it in place with my index finger like that. I'm going to throw a little line over to my left. And I'm coming up through this loop and through our target loop like that. I'm going to pull it through all the way. Now I notice I'm still holding on to my little finger. I'll let go and pull it. And see how it forms the knot like that? That's our first mesh knot. Let me do it again. Like that. Here's our target loop. Here's the little loop around my little finger, held in place with my index finger. Throw a little loop over. Come up through like that. I'll pull it kind of straight up until it's tight against our spool and let go. Pull it tight. Now if you'll notice, the last thing I do is let loose my little finger. Don't pull it off your little finger, because you're going to have a very sore little finger if you keep doing that. See? Now our last loop is our target loop, like that. Pull it straight up until it lines up on our spool. Let go and pull it tight. Now let's take it off and take a look. Now I'm going to flip it over and start a new row. I'll drop down 1 inch. Now I'm going to show you an alternate method. As soon as I get through, I'm going to let loose of everything. That little line we threw to our left, I'm going to pull it straight up until I feel it tighten up against our spool. Then I'm just going to pull it back. That's called an assist. Do like that. Let loose. Our little throw loop, I'll pull that until it tightens up at our spool and pull it straight back. Now if you can't get the first part that we did, you can actually just do this second part and actually get a pretty good speed going and rely on that only. Now this technique is called the Flying Dutchman. The knot we're actually tying is called a sheet bend. See, as soon as I get through both loops, I'll let loose with everything and pull, and then pull it back. You need to learn how to do this, because every once in a while you'll knock the loop off of your little finger and you need to recover from it. You need to do it and it'll make perfect sense to you. I just finished out that row, and that's what that looks like. So I'm just going to flip it over and start over again. Start a new row. See? Okay, what I've just done is I've worked our way down until we ran out of string. I want to show you what to do when you run out of string. What you want to do is you want to form and make a small square knot. You make a loop like that, come around the back, and then to the back of that loop, then through the front, and pull it tight. If it doesn't have a square appearance, you didn't tie a square knot. What you want to do is, once you get it snipped off about like that. And you want to put it in that position in relation to this last knot that you tied. Now what you want to do is we're going to go outside and melt these with a lighter. I'll show you why and how you do that. Okay, we're now outside. You definitely don't want to be breathing in melted nylon inside your home. So what we do is we take our ends and melt it with a lighter, and then tap it with the side of your lighter. And then pull it tight. That's not going anywhere. And you're good to go. Now tie about 1,000 mesh knots. Practice, practice, practice. And tune into the next segment because we're going to be making circles with the same knots we've been making. See you next time.